Welcome back to the Umuco podcast with Alex and Dydine, the podcast where we talk about many different cultures from all around the world.
Hello, everyone.
Today we're talking to Monica Singh to kick off season 3 of the Umuco podcast, or actually the first half of season 3, which centers around Women's History Month. And we have a great lineup for wonderful women to kind of carry us through Women's History Month. And Monica Singh, fantastic interview.
She is incredible.
Great person, great strength. And I know I learned a lot through this one.
I know, I learned a lot. I was so happy throughout the whole interview. She just has this light booming out of her that we can't wait for all of you to be able to experience that. And we're honored that she's going to be launching our Women History Month. So happy International Women to all the women who are listening, and the men, because you have moms, you have daughters, you have aunts, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we are very excited that we're able to contribute to this larger, purpose of life.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right, you all, please enjoy this episode, and we'll talk to you in a minute.
Enjoy. Thank you so much, Monica, for saying yes to our podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much, guys. It's really amazing.
And hear your smile through the
Through the Zoom call. It's great.
I know. Everything is a Zoom right these days, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in India?
Life in India has always been full of colors and culture and tradition, what everybody talks about. And it is true. We, as an Indian people, we don't realize because we grew up around that, right? Everything is so organic, so crafty. And then our mindset has always been like, work hard to reach your goal, to achieve your dreams. And that was always been a mantra in India for my parents as well. So I would say that it was full of competitiveness between the siblings, and even in the and then a lot of people, the education system in India is far different than the United States or different countries as well. So for us, it's like everybody's getting college degree, everybody's getting graduate or something like that. So we grew up with the idea that you're not the only one getting an education. You're not the only one who's getting a degree, but you could be the one who do the best in your field so that you can be the best in your life. That's the whole, always been a idea of Indian parents to their kids. Because I've seen in the United States, is like a lot of people finish their high school and they call themselves graduate. We don't call them graduate. We say, no, that's the school days you just finished. For us, a graduate is like one of the degrees should be a bachelor's degree. And out of 2.7 billion of population in India, I must say that at least 65% of population, they are educated enough to sign their papers, not a thumbprint, and they know what it is. And then I would say 50%, everybody got a degree. So education was pretty much a pressure point in India, because if you're not educated, who are you? And that was always been in our culture, besides from the colorful clothes and yoga meditation people talks about. So long story short, we are more than slumdog millionaires. We are more than more than what people show in the movies. And there are so many unfold chapters people need to explore and people need to hear. And it's a very colorful culture, I must say that, multiple regions, multiple languages, multiple food tastes, and even the water taste changes in every state in India. So it's pretty incredible. So we, and I would say, as an Indian, we don't get impressed easily, because we have seen the incredible part within our country so much. So I think the wow factor in India comes with very hard work or something like that, because we don't care about if somebody's puppy is getting cuter on Instagram, so we go gaga over it. We just like, that's nothing, So we always like, so Indian people are hard to please, honestly speaking. And it's like
high standards. You got high standards,
Yeah, and that they're big on spirituality. I think, or maybe I think the spirituality part of India, I only experienced it here in Los Angeles. I think when I was back home, the picture of India, or a lot of young people go to India to university, literally to school. So we knew that Indian young people are very good in technology.
Yeah.
So, but when I got here, it's popular on spirituality. Like, was it?
I mean, I agree with you, because when I was really young, like I think fourth grade, fifth grade or something, we used to see so lot of students from Africa come in India to study as well because of their affordability in Indian university. So we, most of the time, all these university has these foreign student exchange programs. So where the students from the different country can come and study and finish their courses and all. And then when you're talking about the spirituality, it is more known factor in US because it's a new concept for Western world. But since we grew up with all of these things, the prayers and the spiritualities and all these meditation and the yoga, so we are not so much into like keen to talk about it because it's like it's there, it's in-house thing. So how as a human being we care less about the product which we already have unless until somebody say, hey, your product is good, your technique is good.
Yeah.
So that's the factor I believe that Western country people are experiencing, and that's why the people talk about more meditation and yoga here, because we don't talk about it. For us, it's like, oh, what's new? It's always there,
Yeah,
So,
it's a way of living.
So that factor comes.
Yeah, and that's a special thing. That it's such a matter of fact thing that's so embedded into the culture. It's healthy, right?
It is.
I wish Americans thought the
To
same.
add one more thing.
Yes.
It's like it is the coolest thing, yes, and it is more futuristic, to be very honest, besides the science and the technology, what the world is doing. This is the path where everyone is leading now. And we kind of graduated in that part, right? It's like we've done that. So in that capacity, India is in very futuristic standpoint because we are not materialistic and we are putting our energy into that, right?
Yeah.
So in that path, India is ahead of its time. Yes. But then when the materialistic world comes in, then everybody wants like, okay, I need Rolls Royce, Bentley and all. Then everybody forget about the spirituality. I need the limousine. So that's the whole factor comes in there, So yeah, it's pretty advanced. And eventually I believe everybody wants peace in their life, right?
Yeah, everybody does.
And no matter whatever you have it or you don't have it, everybody tell you the one line, take a deep breath, calm yourself. That's kind of another way of saying have meditation and yoga to calm your nerves. So eventually it's become a part of your life. So it has a deep meaning, yes.
That's beautiful.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to the hard questions. At a very young age, your life changed. 19 years old, right?
Yeah.
Would you please, I know it's hard, would you share a little about what you remember from that time?
As in life as as a survivor of an acid attack was definitely the nightmare one as a girl you can ever imagine, right? And when you are a teenager, you have this promising life ahead of you because you're good with education, good with studies, good with fashion design, good with sports and theater and everything. And then you look up for your 20s so that you can pursue your dream and goals and everything. And suddenly this obstacle comes. It's not an obstacle. It's basically permanent damage comes in your life, which that your identity been stolen within a split of a second.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it wasn't only identity. It was like more like your life has been snatched away from you. Whatever you planned is like somebody changed the hard drive of your life, right? The good part is completely gone, and you have to start something new. And the painful part is because it's happened in your adult life or, a young age life, you're completely aware of what it is. So it is pretty painful because it never gets out of your head, and it will never be. And you are not scarred for a few years or a decade, you are scarred for life, right? So I was I was getting into modeling. I did theater acting. I was great with the sports, and it was, I was always been a very hardworking into pursuing whatever I'm good at. So I always had this part of me that, I'm going to try this career and that career and something. And I chose fashion design over acting and modeling. So when I was like, okay, I'm going to study. And then after 1 year of finishing my graduation, this incident, bucket full of acid, just drowsed you completely, your body, and you are all wet, not in in the water, in an acid which gonna seep into your skin, and then your soul screams, right? You're not just only screaming, your soul screaming, and life is, it wasn't just only like one day, basically. I think it's been more than 15 years of my attack now, and definitely it got a little better for me to talk about it more, because at this time in my life, I have to shut that chapter away from my head so that I can grow ahead. And I firmly believe into not to live in the past and live in the present and think about the future. That kind of personality I had it. And I think willingness of surviving was there. A doctor used to tell my family that, is she going to survive? Because I was flatlined 5 times when this happened. And doctor says, like, we going to lose her any moment and everything. And I've seen the heaven's door. I went up, and then I came back. And that's the moment was more surreal for me, because I touched the death, and I've seen where I was heading towards, and they sent me back. And it was like, no, I have to live. And I always loved life. I always being a creative person. I always love being a woman, because a lot of people don't see it. They always end up comparing themselves with a different gender. And I'm saying, like, woman is little extra, So I always enjoy that part.
Yes.
And then what happened after that? You have to decide, because the family who has put all their life saving into keeping you alive, that is more important. So you don't owe it to society. You don't owe to the damn world, right? Because you owe to your family. They are fighting for keeping you alive. You have to fight for them. And then eventually, at some point, it becomes, your life is not your life anymore. Your life is your parents' life. And because they gave you birth second time now. So life as a survivor, I would say that is different than the other sort of survivors, because in acid attack, it's pretty visible. We can't hide it, right?
It's a scars inside and out.
So it's kind of like into 5. But I'm not comparing other survivors as a less issues. No.
It's okay.
The whole point is, like, our physical harm is also get included over of psychological and mental. So we are not only battling psychological, mental, or if somebody doesn't ask us what happened to us, we can hide it. We can't hide it anymore, because a face is giving it all away, So we have the trauma bigger than anything else, because during all that processes, and then, you become one of those people who you read about in a newspaper and news channel all the time, and you are one in a million who suffered something awful. You are not one of those people who won the beauty pageant, who become something bigger or something like that. You became the part of the story which cultivate the society, what happened to you, and it going to be always measured your country as a woman security, as a woman power and cycle. So you become that subject then, So if anything I do becomes a topic. So being a survivor is not easy, and I will believe that only surviving it doesn't mean everything. It means a lot when you continue to
survive.
The
surviving after surviving.
Yeah, to grow. I mean, a life story doesn't end there when this attack happened and you get caught. It begins there, because now you are a new person. You have to figure out new ways to deal.
I'm curious because it just popped up in my head. I think a lot of times when we see someone who's been through such a horrific event, we can forget sometimes that before this new narrative was formed, they were people beforehand. Like they had a whole life before this thing happened. I'm curious, what was it like trying to grapple with these two narratives, the Monica before, Monica after? Because it's not like, you don't just meld into this new reality. Obviously, it takes time to adapt and, to go through the process of finding who you are within the traumatic event
that you've just been given. Yeah,
so, I mean, I can only imagine how challenging it was to grapple with all that. So, what was it like? What was it like psychologically, emotionally through that whole finding yourself again thing?
I'm glad you asked this question, Alex, because that's the project I'm working on, what people do, to start living the way things before something bad happened to them. That's my foundation mantra as well. Yeah. So, this is something happened with you in that moment, right? It should not erase the entire personality. Right? And a lot of people, like everybody has their own way and own length and strength to cope up with their own ideology of like how they're going to do it. Some people forget because that's how people sometimes, like, how everybody tells you, forget about it. You are new you have to find new you, and then you can move on. Everybody's trying to tell you new, but then nobody's talking about that how to manage to bridge the gap between your past and your future, right? Because you cannot erase your entire life just like that.
Right.
If I was a happy girl, if I was a fashion person, why would it have to change? It can never change, right? Because I'm not taking a rebirth like a rebirth of a child in a hand, right? Now I'm taking a rebirth when I'm an adult woman. So I cannot forget everything. Definitely there is sometime part where you feel like, oh, I used to do that. Oh, I cannot do that anymore. But then out of those 10, 15, 20 things, might be one or two you cannot do it anymore because of the physical harm you have experienced after that, and you are no longer equipped to do that. Yes, but you should not forget the other 12 or other 15, which you still can do it. I mean, you can definitely narrate the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
So, and then, usually how life is, people try to tell you to accept yourself. So I believe this has two meanings behind it. Like one is an accept what already happened to you, but one is also accept that you are still an awesome person, but in a different way now. You have to change the narrative, right?
Right.
So I never accepted initially that bad things happened to me. Yes, it happened. I know that. I am physically living that pain all the time. But I don't have to accept the fact that I cannot do certain things anymore. I'm not going to accept that. I'm not going to accept what society look at me in a certain way. I'm not going to accept if you find me ugly. I'm not going to accept if you think I'm ruining the fashion runway. I don't care. This is my life. I live my life on my own terms. And mind you, you didn't come to save my life when this thing happened to me. So why do I care what you think? So these acceptance and unacceptance comes from the people you are surrounded with. So what happened to me was, of course, you know how people saying that during the good days, everybody becomes your friend, but during the bad days, that real friend shows up and you get to know who is a real friend.
Oh, yeah. Right.
So that's how the filtration starts, right? And then you are looking at those people and they have changed their way of talking to you, even not talking to me, but their eyes. I mean, because I harmed physically. So I used to see their words through their eyes. If they're cringing, if they're watching sharply, if their eyes get brightened that I'm alive, or if there's somebody who's looking at through their eyes by feeling like, oh, what happened to her, you know, something like that.
Right.
So that thing happens. So people forget about what they were amazing in their past because of all these finding the acceptance part in the society. But if the moment you say I don't care, that's a fine line.
It is.
What if and I don't care.
Yeah.
Care enough not to harm other person, but do not care enough that it will harm yourself. You know?
Right.
When did you come to those terms? Like when I feel like that's part of the healing journey, to get to that point where, because when you're young, you're a teenager, that's when a lot of young people, you're in modeling, you're in all those things, it's at that age you really care a lot, you have friends, you have all these people, and then over a sudden not just everything just is changing in your eyes. You're not changing like you said, but the people's perspective, the people's view, they're all changing. How did you come to the terms of like, you know what, I don't care, this is me now. If you don't accept me as me now, I don't care. When and how did that journey, unfold?
Okay, so basically what happened here is I had a choice when my father asked me, what do I want to do? Because he offered me that he can provide me for rest of my life. And I don't need to worry about anything. I don't need to step out if I'm not ready or comfortable with whatever happened, right? Because this was a moment, like within a 24 hours or 48 hours after the attack. So it was pretty soon, because I think doctors told me that she might not going to survive because my case was pretty severe. So that's what happened. And then I told my dad that I'm going to finish what I started. And I'm not going to die illiterate. And I have to have this degree in my hand. And when I chose to go back there, I know that there are going to be thousands of eyes over me when I'm going to walking down the staircase in my college or getting into class, and everybody going to talk about and looking at me so differently. And that's the moment when if they were not becoming a part of my journey back then that means like I don't care, because that time your group become smaller. You know, your parents, if your family is supportive, that are your friends. And who cares if you're studying with somebody 6 hours in a day, because eventually you're gonna go back to the house who gonna give you the medicine on time, who gonna help you to learn how to walk again. So who matters the most? You decide. So I decided my family is the most important thing in my life. And if somebody makes you feel bad or small, they don't exist.
That's really amazing, because when those, like for me, like as a survivor, nobody knows that I'm a survivor unless they Google me or they tell them. And
unless until you want to tell them. Otherwise,
yes,
you can hide it. Right?
Yeah, but also I can see, like, every time with people, and so, or maybe one person knows, they will tell other people. She's a genocide survivor, and it always makes me like I'm scanning everyone, trying to figure out their reaction.
It's like you told every eye who was looking at me that I'm a hot woman, and suddenly you sound like, oh, it's a pity. And it's like,
I'm not defined. Yes, I cannot erase that history, but also I'm a human. I'm here. Like, just treat me like,
I mean, people don't get it. I mean, that's the thing. Like, and with me, the things are pretty much like, I don't need to say, or nobody has to tell anyone anything. I walk in and people are looking at me. Oh, something is wrong with her face. Oh, something terrible must have happened.
That's.
And I'm like, yeah, you cook up the story.
Yeah.
And I started having fun, to be very honest with that. The reason is somebody says, those Indian aunties who are very curious about somebody's daughter. Oh my God, what's your daughter gonna do anymore? She's never gonna get married and everything. So I started having fun with my stories, and it's like, what happened to you? I was like, my in-laws, they wanted a dowry. That's why they did try to burn me, and I survived.
No, you don't.
I said it. And then one time, what happened? I was like, I was just skydiving, and then, 50 feet on top, my parachute just went off, and I just splashed in the bottom, and that's why I got these scars.
I love
that. Story, I had a shark attack or something, and that's why, he damaged me a lot, but I survived. So, to put a pin on everybody, so I just started having fun, and I'm gonna say next time, what's gonna happen to you? I had a skiing accident. It's just like, people ask you so many times these questions, and I'm like, oh, world is my oyster. I'm gonna cook up every damn story I can. I fought with the tiger. I jumped from the cliff. Who cares, right? I mean, they just want a curiosity to fulfill their desire to feel good about themselves. That's why people want to know the sad story in the first place. No. Because that's how they make them.
But they wanted
oh my God, I'm so blessed. Nothing happened to me. Thanks to God. I'm like, I'm born this way, right? So, buddy, I mean, I can continue on and on.
I love it. We were talking how I was telling her how I'm a survivor, but no one knows unless I tell them.
Yeah.
Or somebody knows in the group and tells them, and then it becomes a whole thing.
Right, yeah.
And it's always so but now I just got a new idea on how to do it, Because normally I'm like...
No matter whatever you're going to say, they're going to buy it, right? Just have fun.
That's where the tiger attacks.
I'm going to say it. I'm definitely going to say it. I mean, I've already said this. Something my in-laws did bad to me, because Indian in-laws, the story, the blah, 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 all that shit.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna cook more Western stories this time. Ski accident, tiger attack, shark attack. And probably, let's see, I jumped and saved some people from the burning building. Who knows, man? Like, Google it. I mean, you got to know.
Some hero and some fireman saved me.
You can say that you bloody shoot the people during your incident. You were battling with the, AK-47, and you were trying to kill people, but then you saved so many lives. Just compare the story. I know it sounds insensitive when I'm saying this way, but trust me, this is one way of coping it, because sometimes people don't let you forget the shit happened to you. Yeah. That's my theory is.
Yeah. Even if you try, and it's almost like it's very interesting, because with my friend, with Console, when we met, because I met her 6 or 7 years ago when I got here, and I loved her spirit, and she doesn't allow what happened to her or what she's going through now as a consequence of it define who she is. And even if people try to make it like, oh my God, you live with HIV, oh my God, She's like, yeah, I love my life. Just, like she.
Yeah, so
shit happens.
And then, trust me, at some point, people want us to act and find empathy towards our stories. Like, you jackass, you made us to talk about thousands and thousands of times. Of course, the emotion's gone away now. I mean, I can't cry anymore. I mean,
I know. I think
I'm in my 30s, man. I can't cry about that. Sometimes I do, but especially during interviews, people ask me to be more serious, and I'm like, you know what? This is what one of the traits Monica has. Even before the attack, I always been a fun-loving person, so I'm not gonna change that because of that.
Yeah.
So
no, but that's important too. I think some of the most fun people in the world are those who can see the humor in almost in any situation, or at least just look at the brighter side of things, that you're still here, you're still yourself. And that's interesting that you say that, because of course, after telling the same story, Dydine, you understand the same thing, telling the same story over and over and over again.
So I don't have any emotions attached to it after 100 times.
Right, but the people who are there for the first time, they have all these emotions. They're affected by this for the first time. But you're like, yeah, of course, I know, yeah. And it's kind of like,
I mean, you have a one point in your story which still can crack you up a little bit, and not a crack. I mean, say breaks you down a little bit. There is always a one part which somehow, every journalist tries to poke that point. Oh, I made Monica cry. I made the survivor cry because they touched that point.
Yeah.
So, but the whole idea is I want people to know me more than what my story is, who I am, and that's how I believe in giving back to the society in my way. That's what it is. I mean, in my bio, acid attack survivors is always gonna go in the line, right? But is it coming first as a part of your introduction or the last is my job, and I am squeezing these words and moving it towards the end. Before that, Monica Singh is pretty awesome. I'm a businesswoman.
Oh, I know.
I'm an artist. I'm a fashion designer.
You are a founder.
Identify,
You're not. Well, you're a foundation founder. So, it's all this.
So that's what.
Yeah, it's all those wonderful things. We're gonna go to the dark side again. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
I'm sorry. Did you happen to forgive the person who did this to you?
Forgiveness is a big thing, right?
Yeah.
I think I forgive myself not to feel sorry, or not to be hard on myself, and to continue to live my life in a way. And the person and the people, I would say that people who did this to me, they were not like a terrorist who I can say that, oh, I forgive them. These were the people who I have seen them. I was aware of their existence around me or somewhere, but they were normal people who happens to be, the ill-minded who decided to burn me, right? So my attackers are more dangerous and serious than other attackers or terrorists, because the people like them are always around us. They are, they are psychologically imbalanced, or they try to ruin your life. So my people are the people who did this to me. They kind of did it by proving a point that I cannot go ahead in my life and to do anything in my life and to be with anyone, whatever the reason was. But the forgiving them means I am letting them easily go. And that means other acid attack survivors, I'm giving them giving them
like a free
an
pass.
answer, a quotation. That, oh, I forgive my thing. No, I cannot. Because in that day, I mean, I have my peace with it, but that peace is within me. I cannot give it to them. That, oh, it's okay, you did this to me. No, you are not okay to do with this with anyone, and so the other people. So the whole idea is like, they did not just attack me. They attacked every single young girl who wants to continue to live her life and be someone, and not having a man as a priority, or don't want it to be somebody's girlfriend. She took her education more seriously than the boys, and on top of it, they burnt my entire family. Everybody in my family gone through the same acid attack as me. Yes, I was there as a physically there who got burned and everything. But my entire family moved into hospital for a year just so that they can see I'm breathing or not, because at some point they have to remind me to breathe. I was in a very critical shape, so I was keep forgetting breathing and everything. So everybody played such a important role in my life. They were no longer just a family, but then they were like my angel, who somebody's feeding, somebody's waking up entire day, rubbing my feet because there is no blood circulation. And then my brother is feeding me water with a spoon because my mouth doesn't open. So I would have forgiven them if it was just for me, and things would have been stopped, not to have more acid attack in any other countries than in India. But it never stopped. So what's the point of forgiving them? Who I am trying to be? I'm not a Mother Teresa, and I don't want to be a Mother Teresa. So that's that.
Not everybody.
And then you just throw that sense of humor in there.
Oh, guys. Oh, I don't know. If this becomes controversy, you guys need to scratch this up, okay? I don't know. I would. There's a time. There are people.
Yeah.
You can't compare yourself with. You know how people say that. Oh, I forgive them.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to do this to them. And I have this question. Are you okay? Are you really? Right? I'm like, just be honest with yourself, man. Like, girl, please. Like, seriously. So when the people talk this so unrealistic thing just to please the society so that they get into a bar where people say, oh, she is that and that, I will say that be realistic. I think people in the audience and the listeners are not stupid. They are smart and they know what they're saying. And then no matter if you talk about the something which is not practical, nobody cares what you say anymore. So I believe in the reality and the practicality, and that's my message is be true to yourself, be honest to yourself, and be in love with yourself, and that's what's gonna come back to you.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that message in particular needs to be repeated over and over and over again to young men and to boys, especially. Because we were talking about, or Dydine, you had mentioned insecurity in boys and trying to help us be more vulnerable and all of that. That is essential. That's essential to kind of, or at least starting the process of eradicating these insecurities and this wild behavior that stems from just this dark place. And I think if you show compassion with yourself and allow yourself to be yourself and do your own thing and not go with the flow and all these other masculine norms, then we would solve many problems.
A lot of problems.
Many problems.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that, and I think instead of telling the older generation to bring the change, I think the newer parents, they can start this whole cycle with their son. You cannot change again. You do not expect your grandmother to understand your point of view because she doesn't understand. She can never understand. So why wasting energy on her, right? So I would say that, like, okay, grandma, you did that. I'm not going to do that. So that is my choice. And then people in our generation who are young parents or going to be new parents, they should understand if they want to see the change and they want to bring the change in their future, they need to start from themselves, And every activism, in fact, starts from home.
From home,
your house.
Yeah.
So you can't expect anybody to change because you keep saying that on a social media. You want to bring the change. I mean, did you able to bring a change in your home, in your family? You can't change your uncle. You can't change your grandfather. So what the hell are you trying to tell the world? I'm going to change the world because that's the whole point. And then it becomes easier for people to bring the change in the world because they know their family is not going to listen to them. They say, okay, this audience doesn't work. I'm going to go out and reach out to the world. I'm going to bring the change. And I'm like,
but then you bring all the things you learned in a dysfunctional home into the world, and the world is messed up.
Right.
Exactly, because you are not healed completely.
No.
Right? The feeling healed completely from within is more important than you talk about the change. No, don't read the script.
Absolutely.
Just think where you are right now.
Yes.
And then I'm from India, right? We've according to Western culture, all the Indian kids are abused by their parents. We have been slapped.
Oh yeah, that's the narrative.
Because we were not doing the chores or we were doing something. Our mother is, just slapped us. It's like, what the hell?
Trust me, I know that.
Yeah, you know that, right?
Oh yeah, same in Rwanda.
Talk about this in Western world or even in US, people say that, our parents abused us, and I'm like, oh my God, what happened? So abuse comes out of such a bigger word, right?
Yeah.
It's a big word, abuse word.
Yes.
And when they say, my father used to yell at me, and I'm like, okay. I grew up being yelled at. Like, I grew up being yelled at.
God, I heard that sound every day. Every morning.
So that's the change, right?
That was your alarm.
That was my alarm. Did get up, go to school?
And I was the naughtier in my family. Yes, I've been beaten by my mom. Yes. I'm like, why would I say that? I'm not ashamed of it. Yes, I was doing something where she thinks that I need a little bit lesson. So she did that. I mean, if you call it abuse, then I would say that all in Eastern countries, including Japanese, Chinese, and UAE, and all these, even in Africa, everybody is abused. Then it's like,
I know. That's what one day I told my mom when I got her 2 years later. I told her, Mom, she was like, I want to come to the state. And I was like, Mom, because of how you treat us as a kids, I think when I come, I might come with FBI because
you caused the fire, Mom. I know. But I think even that way, I won't say, I think let's not call it an abuse. I think it's been a discipline factor in our way. And that's why we don't talk back to our parents with what we hear other kids do.
Yeah.
We listen to them, we respect them, and we, there is a different place of parents in our life. And I'm not judging Western world. Do whatever you want to do, right? But then all I'm saying is I had a family who made me who I am right now, strong, They always pointed out what is wrong am I doing and what is right am I doing, and they made me a better person. It doesn't mean, they could have, of course, I wish I could say that to Mom, why did you slap me that time? And she was like, yeah, you ran away. And I'm like, oh, that's right. So basically, I can't really go back and change my past, right?
Yes.
So same thing goes with everything. You can't change your past.
No.
So stop trying to change your past. Make your better present and hope for the best future.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Change yourself to change the world.
I can't wait to hear what message you would like to give to the young people all over the world and new families.
Yeah.
I did say new families, so that's something I just thought about because I think you said something great about raising new families, young boys, what to teach them instead of teaching our grandpa or grandparents new tricks because that doesn't work. So would like for you to give a message to young people all over the world and young families.
I would say that to new parents, stop treating your kid as a god. Don't let them walk away with everything because he's your precious kid. If he's doing wrong, tell them he's wrong, and do not always force them to be a Superman. Don't force them to be something and push the boundary to make them always feel in a pressure to be perfect, because life is not perfect. Life is not always balanced. If you don't teach your son or daughter about the fallbacks or falling down or even losing, you cannot let them experience the fun and the best part of winning as well. Because you've been forcing them how to win and win and win, and that's what they are getting forced into, thinking that they are great at it, they are awesome, they are the future Einstein, but eventually it's not true, and then they lose their mind. Oh my God, my parents used to say I was so freaking awesome, but now I'm losing. I'm not able to make it in this new society because another Einstein is keep coming. So this whole new parenting, I believe, like they are treating their kid like a god, and then kids are doing and saying something in amongst the adult people, the people are our age, and we say that, how do you even allow your parents to say that? Oh, we don't tell them anything, we don't say no to him because we don't want him to learn the negative words. And I'm like, yeah, that if that's my kid, I would tell him right, left, straight. Because I feel that like people are conscious about having kid, which is a good thing. Stop populating the world. But whatever the kid you have, you have to have in a very conscious manner that you build them not a good boy, not a good girl, but being a better human being. Teach them practicality of life, and then most of the time, all I'm seeing their kids, they are always going gaga over, oh, my kid is doing this, he's a rock star, he's this and he's that. And then I'm saying, is he going to pursue that career? Is he ever going to be a famous rock star in future? We don't know. Nobody knows about the future. But also you have the power of changing the acceptance, what comes in your life in the beginning of their stage. So if the boy cry, please let them cry, because no girls want robot. Nobody wants a Hercules in their life. I mean, like, you don't cry, who are you, right? It's like. And then, if the boy cry when he's young, he's okay. When the adult men cry and people say the men don't cry, it's like, seriously? Like he was born from some another planet or what? He's a human being. So stop seeing the sexes, stop seeing the colors, stop seeing ethnicity or anything. First of all, make your kid as a better human being.
Absolutely. So
then you become a better man, better girl, better woman, or better girl. That comes later. We make them be reasonable and good kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have hope for the world to be a better place?
Hope for what? Like, I'm always hopeful. Hope for what?
For the world to be a better place for everyone,
I don't know about the world to be a better place, because honestly speaking, I wish, and everyone is trying to be, but then it's not just only my responsibility, it is a collective responsibility.
Yeah.
So I am going to do my part. And then if everybody start doing their own part, collectively it becomes a better place.
Absolutely.
That like how the few people say, I'm going to follow this veganism and eco-friendly and all that thing. I wish like one person is doing yes, inspiring other yes, and slowly the chain falls, right? So it could be amazing world if we started working and taking the world seriously. And I think this coronavirus have taught us that how to accept yourself, how to live in a minimalism, and how to love life more, and how to spend more time with your family besides thinking about your 9-to-5 job and paying bills. Because it gives you a break in a human life because we were racing so fast.
Yeah.
Every country, everybody's trying to do something. Everybody's trying to change the world, but then we forget about changing in ourselves, right? So I think coronavirus has taught us, like, just calm down, slow your pace, and see where you are heading. And things you have survived during 1 year in coronavirus in 2020, I think you can survive for the rest of your life without it.
Yeah.
So I think that's a positive side of coronavirus period, I would say, I see.
Yeah.
And it's like we as a human being wrecked the earth because we've been going out of so much of industries and mechanisms and no planting trees so these are the things they knew, even the future parents has to taught their kids, don't ask for the PS4, PS5 or any game, just plant a tree on your birthday.
Yeah.
So why don't you teach them that? So it will bring a lot of change because people forget about it. Everybody's rushing and running as a rat race. She has that, he has that, I'm going to have that. But then what you have, you are not acknowledging it. And I think coronavirus did that. We are more acknowledging our people who've been there for us when we called them, when we were feeling depressed or lonely during coronavirus. I think we talked to our parents more than ever we could have done it in entire years since we moved out, right? So I think you feel more connected, you feel more inclusive within your family, and that's how the pattern is. It's pity that even the coronavirus had to come to teach human being like that.
I know.
Yes, but then, something taught you, right? So learn that lesson and continue to keep learning from it, and don't forget it is, because life is too short not to live and not to care. And that's what I believe. So I am a very hopeful person. I'm all about hope.
Same here.
Me too. We wouldn't be doing this podcast if we weren't hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this is beautiful. This was an amazing interview.
It was. Yeah. I learned a lot, and it's just the human spirit is amazing.
It is so strong. It can never be squashed.
But it's just I don't know. I feel like if we could just show ourselves and the world and each other more love, and not get caught up with, the rat race, like you said. It's just, I don't know. Try not to be sad about it. That we are so consumed with the so many trivialities in life. But it's quite simple when you just choose. You make the decision to love and do what you need to do. You just gotta do it.
Love your family, love yourself, love your friends, and be happy.
Yeah, I mean, life is pretty black and white, but we made it gray,
I know.
Pretty black and white, right?
Yeah, life is so simple.
Good or bad. Why you make it a gray? So we complicated that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much for all the wisdom you just gave us. I learned so much myself. So I think our audience is going to learn a lot more.
Oh yeah.
They are. I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. Be you. Be yourself.
Be yourself. Great conversation.
I know. I was laughing so hard.
You were. Yeah.
Please excuse my laughters.
I remember. Behind the scenes of that actual interview, we had our water heater replaced.
Oh God, yeah.
And I had to get up midway through, and the people, they came up, and so I hope I edited a lot of that out, but I don't know.
I know, but when you left, me and Monica were just
I wasn't present for a bit
blast.
of that. Yeah, that's when they were really cracking jokes. I wasn't present, but you all were able to see what kind of person Monica Singh is.
Yeah.
She's truly a gem of a person.
She's amazing. We will add some links in the bio about her and her work, so you can support her. She speaks all around the world and inspiring young women and all the people wants to listen. Yeah. So if you want to know more about Monica, definitely check her out.
100%.
Right.
And so again, this is Women's History Month.
Yes.
And like I said before, we do have a great lineup. We have another episode coming out very soon with Dia Abdo. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that as we approach that date.
Yes.
But until then, happy Women's History Month.
Thank you.
Happy International Women's Day at the time of this release. And
I'm happy about this week. This whole month for us women. We get to, uplift one another.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So to all the women who are out there doing great things, we see you.
We see you, 100%. And I hope men are listening and paying attention as well.
Oh, thank you.
It was the truth.
It is the truth. It is the truth. And as women are strong, the men are strong, we're all strong, we're all doing our best to make this world a little better place.
Yeah.
We're all benefiting from it,
I agree. All right, folks, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.